this breast cancer issue is something that we need not just 1 month to do it, but at least when they are coming out with their actions plan, we need to always have it. All the chief zones, the health directorate, the regional health directorate, they should, and I know they always have it. They always have it in their action plan. In my constituency, for instance, the health directorate, they organize it anytime. They just don't wait for October to do it. That's why I'm commending the municipal health director for some of these things. Because it's not when you see somebody being affected by breast cancer, it's an eyesore.
Yeah.
It's an eyesore. And the cost of treatment is also the problem. Yeah, it's so expensive to be treated. The operation is so expensive, the medication is so expensive. So I'm happy that there are many individuals and NGOs that, have come out to be supporting people who are infected with breast cancer. So by and large, it's something that the men should pay attention to.
Right.
And the women should also pay attention to themselves because they carry the breast. We will always come in to support. How do we support? I'm sure within this month, every man is encouraged to at least be, the men are encouraged to, Moro, you want to laugh at me, don't. You let me make my point. I'm saying that in this October, from today first to the last day of October, every man should endeavor to at least also massage your wife's breast. I'm saying your wife. If you don't have wife and you go and touch any illegal breast and then you have a problem, that one, it is not Cletus's fault. I'm saying your wife.
Why? Why?
I like the advice he gives and then the manner in which he went about it. But having said that, yes, breast cancer in general is a serious issue facing humanity. And it's like the study have demonstrated that it's actually on the increase because of modern lifestyle. Almost everybody now have known somebody who have died of cancer. In fact, breast cancer in particular. I've known a mother who has passed away because of breast cancer, and the daughter also passed away because of breast cancer. So you can see that there's a genetic risk factor involved. And there are so many other risk factors. So a week of this nature would be very good for us to educate women in particular some of the risk factors. And when you read the literature, I don't know whether you may know, I'm also a qualified nurse, so I know some of those areas. Right. So some of the risk factors, they said a high level of alcohol intake can increase your risk of cancer. Red meat can also increase your risk of cancer in general. Weight, if you are overweight, it can increase. And also, if you are not very active, all increase the risk of breast cancer.
And this breast cancer issue is something that we need not just 1 month to do it, but at least when they are coming out with their actions plan, we need to always have it. All the chief zones, the health directorate, the regional health directorate, they should, and I know they always have it. They always have it in their action plan. In my constituency, for instance, the health directorate, they organize it anytime. They just don't wait for October to do it. That's why I'm commending the municipal health director.
Now let's come to Mr. Ayukwe Otu's attack on me. I find it very interesting. he said he has provided all the evidence to Mr. Domelevo, a former Auditor General, and I sat there and I didn't take it, and other people, I was whatever influenced my decision, he doesn't know. I want to put it on record that he provided us with evidence that were fake evidence. It will interest you to know that it is the junior of the Chief Justice, the Judicial Secretary, who appointed the Chief Justice.
How is that?
Yes, that letter he produced is signed by the Judicial Secretary appointing a Chief Justice. So if you follow the briefing that the Attorney General has been given, a lot of work is going on. Will you ask, are you satisfied? I'll say no, I am not satisfied. Because I can't see the end of the tunnel, not to talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't even see it. I don't even see the end of the tunnel before the light, because I know this may continue until there's a change. In fact, the prayer of the corporates and their lawyers is that there should be a change in government. Then you hear nolli prosequa and etc., and our money is gone. The procedure that Attorney General currently is using is going to be very difficult. 9 months. 9 months is not small, my brother. Before we realize, we have finished the quarter of the term of President Mahama. So I think we have to change the speed at which we are moving and let people gain the confidence that things are moving and moving very fast. It begs one question. Doesn't mean they didn't prepare before coming to office, or they were not ready for winning the election. Because when I look at the quantum of money that we should recover and the speed, the snail speed at which we are moving, I'm like, when are we going to get there? We may not get there. We need to change the legal framework. And let me be blunt here. If government refuses to do these changes, it only tells me that either they are also doing the same thing, they are also stealing, or they have intention of stealing. That is the only motivation which will stop you from doing these things, which brings about quick win.
Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity. And Chair, I think the Minister's intervention clearly shows one thing, that this is a leader who is not an armchair leader. He's got significant appreciation and knowledge of his jurisdiction. And I think that this is the crux of Madam Chair's point, that we are not here to witch hunt. But when you have not less than 80% of the taxpayers' money being channeled back to the base to be used to bring relief to the people who provide the food we eat in Accra and who give us everything, all Madam Chair and this committee seeks beyond the evidence in the book here is to ensure that we emphasize the governance issues, value for money. And I want to salute the Minister that you have shown this committee and the whole of Ghana that from Alpha to Omega, you are really in charge of your region. You look so promising, and I think that the sky is even not enough for you as the limit. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you, Madam.
This space, as we are all scientists, deals with issues or want to express certain terms or certain processes. So what I want to tell, in fact, say to my younger colleague, I'll call him my younger colleague because even my student, my first set of PhD students are at the level of senior lecturers. He said he's a lecturer at the level of senior lecturers, and I'm not sure they will go on TV and make this kind of communication about science. When you are communicating science, you don't use jargons. It doesn't make sense to people. Science is already a difficult area. And when you want to communicate science that should be meaningful to the people, you don't communicate it with jargons. A lot of the viewers who listened to him yesterday, he said he was speaking jargon. In fact, he's in this social media comment. But then he has already apologized, so I don't even want to go to that angle. So, it is not wrong to say de-chemicalization. It is not wrong in any scheme you want to put it. From my explanation, I've taken my time to explain this to you. If you go online, you'll find some documentation mentioning de-chemicalization. It's a process. We have described it here. If it's not in any body of work, we don't care. Galamsey was not in any body of anything, but then we have it and we use it and we understand what it means when we say galamsey. Maybe today you add it to your vocabularies, decomicalization. So it become part of your vocabularies. You have the definition to it. In your preamble, you are giving different methods that we can use to classify what is called, or what we call, decomicalization, right? Yeah. Okay. And I will also advise my brother, the next time he sits on sets to want to disagree to someone's opinion or something he is not well vested in. The last time I checked, you are a food nutritionist or something. You are not water technologies or whatever in that space, or nanotechnologies or technology that is used to purify water, or if what he doesn't like, to decomicalize water. So we talk about communication and public communication. But the last one, I want to actually give this to my brother to study. These are the documentation I submitted for my promotion for full professor at the University of Ghana. Okay. I think it will help him go through as he prepares to get
Unfortunately,
higher.
I know we have a lot to say. We have a lot to say, but we'll leave it here. Viewers, that's all we have time for here on the show tonight.
I think that for the police, you have to really make your monitoring devices even more sensitive. This didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen within 2 weeks. Certainly, it didn't happen within just 1 month. It's been going on for a while. And so I think that your system for scanning the whole environment must be sharper so that we're able to avoid such
Ladies, somebody down.
When the dust rises, the kings are made. No throne, no roof, just a shadow's shade. Brick by brick, we built from pain. Under the street lights, we carve our name. The horns blow loud and sing our fight. We chased the dawn through endless nights. Street corner.
Yeah, hello, Madafo. I did the same with me. Me that's no more pipe. Me not just say my back. Yeah, hello, Madafo. I did the same with me. Me that's no more pipe. Me not just say my back. Hey, my brother.
Bro, what do you want to say?
Shot now, boy. Eligible, boy. What's a shot?
Can you bro from Mintase?
Like me, the bro full of okay.
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 Boy, Ben.
The long shot you had last time, yeah.
You know, so boss need the Charlie. So unim say me yen me dey what I say.
There will be.
It told me and I'm say amen. On pay English no. Me see what I say. Some I catch you asa. All team can okay, uncle English.
Okay, man. I mean last week
me flexi.
You had a long shot on the pool. What came to you? What came?
The match to do what you know.
So no sugar. Yes.
Okay, coach. Team news. What can you tell us?
Nothing much. I think we had two and a half good sessions, and the boys look sharp. I'm looking forward for tomorrow.
Alidu and Fatal were well received by their teammates yesterday when they arrived in camp and also at training. But you being the manager of the team, what are your thoughts on the return of these two players?
Oh, I'm very happy. I'm very happy for them. First of all, it's not, you can't take it for granted to come back as strong as they are coming back from what I saw in their games. And I'm really, really happy for them. They really deserve it to be back. And we've been observing them. We've been in talks throughout with them, and they're progressing on their fitness level. I mean, they're doing well in their leagues, so I'm very, very happy for them to be back.
What sort of message have you given to the players on the back of the surprise that we experienced in Chad? We are almost there. We are not there yet. How are you working on the mentality of these players?
I think it's Chad was a very, very strong lesson for us. I just hope that we learned out of this. We have to take it serious till the last minute. We have to fight defensively, especially to the last minute. Surely, I know we have our offensive strength and we will create chances and we have to score. And I'm pretty much sure we will score, but it's very, very important that everybody's on his toes till the last minute. And like I said, we took a lot of learnings from Chad, and I have a very, very good feeling that that we can we can hold to 0 in this game, and we'll be able to score 1 or 2 goals.
On the back of that experience, you've had some few changes to the team, and then the return of Fatau and Alidu. Do these inclusions make your team stronger compared to the previous window?
In general, I think we have like, let's say 30, 35 players who are like in the inner circle. And yeah, it's always, we're always watching them, we're always observing them. Sometimes injury also come along, like Tariq, who's injured. And sometimes others perform. And then at the end I have to decide, and I decide for the squad. And yeah.
I'm wonderful free. Eh? Hey! No, yes, I'm wonderful free. Yes, I'm wonderful free. Eh?
Government is broke, government is broke. But people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are 2 types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thanks for watching Good Morning Ghana, and thanks for tuning in to Good Morning Ghana. My name is Audu Moro. It's always a pleasure to come your way. It's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning. It's the 8th of October, 2025. This is the day the Lord has made, and indeed we're glad in it. We want to say big thanks to the Almighty God for keeping alive and safe and healthy, and it's a rare privilege to be back again to join the nation's conversation, the big issues that matter to you and I, and the big issues that are also making the rounds. My name, once again, is Audu Moro. So I go straight ahead and look at the front pages of the various newspapers that we have this morning. And as always, and as usual, I'll start with the Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic this morning says that a brave female chief chases Galamseys out, rejects 2 million cedis offer, seizes excavator. Chema Wontumi pleaded not guilty to illegal mining charges, granted 25 million cedis bail. And as NIMOS cracks down on Galamseys, hundreds rounded up, equipment set ablaze. The Accra Times. Mahama salutes Donald Trump over groundbreaking Gaza peace plan. The Soso Speaker postpones reopening of Parliament indefinitely as Parliament runs out of cash. And ASP Raji Atuluk honored for standing service. First woman to command UN parade in CAR, that's Central African Republic. And Mahama tax judges make the courts living guardians of fairness. Ola Mangote writes an open letter to the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Betanu. The Ghanaian Times. Tamale to the world. President Mahama lauds UDS on World University Games triumph. Chema Wontumi pleads not guilty in court. There's 2025-2026 national service applicants to reapply, according to the NSA. There's a Sandvik mining expands to Cote d'Ivoire, where Not Langas, chief of Katamanso, rejects claims. Daily Guide. Wontumi arrested again. 25 million cedis bail for mining offences. Accra submerged under flood waters. 1 killed in bloody chieftaincy clash. CID rescues 110 foreigners from a QNet scam. Gold Board nabs 6 in illegal gold deal. The Herald. Mahama government tightens excavator import controls to combat Galamsey. Kumasi Governor Wontumi on 25 million cedis bail for destroying 13 hectares of forest reserve water pollution. NIMOS task force cracks down on illegal mining in Western region. Aikwe to others presented fake evidence to defend Tokonu Domelevo claims. BOG to sell $1.5 billion this month. The New Crusading Guide. Dame deflects Jakpa's CID complaint. I never fabricated evidence. NPP UK clarifies Gabi's remarks at Birmingham event. Dismisses viral video as false and distorted. Urges unity ahead of 2028 polls. NIMOS raids gangway Galamseya's hideout. The Tessa family warns Regimano Estate residents to stop lease renewals after a Supreme Court ruling. Sami Ewuku donates medical supplies to boost healthcare in Ekuapem North. Lightwave still commitment to e-health agenda despite contract delays. Daily Post. Aikwe Otu submitted fake evidence during Tokonu's probe, Domelevo. President Mahama declares Bright International Park epicenter of 24-hour economy. Want to be placed on stop list after 15 million cedis bail, pleads not guilty to 6 mining-related charges. Ashanti Regional MPs react to allegations of opting for community roads instead of flyovers. The Insight. Pan-Africanists unite for reparative justice and a liberation. Gold board busts illegal gold trading ring, 2 foreigners, 4 locals among suspects. And there's also the principle of bail as cornerstone of just legal system as enshrined in Ghana's constitution. Lawyer Kwame also done so right. GTV aired in reports over alleged abduction of Martha Nunu, according to the family. There's also Ekuapehima addresses the press today over Ujra Festival Ekuapem crisis. Lightwave e-health reaffirms commitment to Ghana's e-health agenda amid contract delays. And the gold board busts illegal gold trading ring, 2 foreigners, 4 locals among suspects. The Inquisitor. Falsehood overrode project. Ashanti MPP MPs whip Gabi. Gold board task force grabs 4 for illegal gold buying. Ekuapehima addresses media today, and there's also involvement of huge political figures from Amenfi areas in Galamsey, and that's coming up. The Ghanaian publisher, ownership of Bogoso Prestia Mine, Heath Goldfields defense takeover. Want to be placed on stop lists. Bagbing and strikes. No money, no sitting. Dami Rabish's Jakpes claim. All right, so that's it for the newspaper headlines. Please stay with us. This is Good Morning Ghana. It's on Metro TV. Please don't go anywhere.
my friends, my name is Kelkit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kelkits. Happy smile.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety. Creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friend, Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Friend, me once now. Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain, mosquito, double the accent. Me did it, Sasso spray. Mr. Friend, Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasso.
Come on, Tom Preco.
Promo. Your most preferred estate partner is given a massive 20% discount on land sale. Yes, for our Founders Day promo, Estate Masters is offering this special discount for outright purchases up till the end of September 2025.
Purchase your tracks today.
This cuts across all our available sites, and upon purchase, you get to enjoy a free indenture and free site plan. Our site visits are also free, so rush now and secure a plot of land while this offer lasts. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
Abina. Oh, Abina.
Edi asema, menya oden. O tiantie mu amanfo ada. O hye me boso beto phone na mame. Me phone na say dada. Menya oden.
The most surprised man.
Surprise ben.
Surprise.
Hey, Kofi papa. E phone o. iPhone 13. Nanya ne.
Ende, me fanko for me mienu. Amu ko circle. Ene ba ko ne ka chena dan for hour. Ono odi ni Ghana card. Eko EBA phone so a. Otua 40% pen edi ni phone man no a. Da aka no betua ne kakra. Timiti ya me drop na me so me call ho. Ana me kwanya wo phone de bre wo no.
Oh, Kofi papa me da se. I'm sure.
Baby,
What EBA phones had ye, yet on iPhones ne ho akade nyina. Ye sanso de ma wholesale. So ye dealer na so pedudu atua and na se afi na wo share iPhone business na sia. Braya sia ye, hwehwe ye chira kwan e wa Accra Circle Mall. Any tiptoe lane, modern photos in chain. American Monso, ye ni odor rice ene di nhwenim. Kumase ye wedum ejekuma brunsan nim. Obetumi so hu ye e wo www.
his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late? Of
course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the pure cause she be luckiest. Me and you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Senya God the boom. If you put it toye, so would the coming of the son of man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
You're still watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Please tell a friend to tell a friend that this show is also live on 94.1 FM. We're on satellite. We are also on the multi-TV platform. And we're also live on all your social media handles. So check the social media handles on the left corner of your TV so that you can tell a friend to join us there and watch the show that you don't want to miss for any reason. So my guests are seated already, and one, if I call them the regular two, yes, on Wednesdays. And I'm talking about Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., who is a statesman and a journalist, and he's joined us. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
It's always a pleasure to see you, sir. And also Mr. Collins Mensah. Let me just say Collins Mensah. He's an MP for Ifija Kwabre North. And
reducing him in rank.
What was it?
Reducing my brother in rank.
Oh, well, I was just about to give the rank. He's the Honorable Member of Parliament for the people of Ifija Kwabre North and also a former Deputy Energy Minister. Honorable, good morning.
Morning, my brother.
And thank you very, very much for
having me
for joining us. You know, his full name is Honorable Collins Adomako Mensah, but you know, sometimes familiarity. It's Collins Adomako Mensah. Obviously,
yes, sir.
You were missing in action last week.
Yes.
My viewers want me to ask you, where were you?
Well, I was actually in Caracas.
Okay, that's in Venezuela. Okay.
Conference on the impact, consequences, colonialism and neo-colonialism. The tinge on reparative justice.
Oh, okay.
I was invited to speak. Spent some time there because unfortunately I got very sick on that trip.
Oh, sorry.
But I'm back. So.
Wow. Thank God for your life. Please don't leave us now. We're always happy to see you. Maybe another 20, 30 years at the very least. Yes,
we don't decide, do we?
No, that's what we're appealing. We're begging. We're begging at least another 20, 30 years. Because your contribution to this country's governance, it's enormous. We cannot quantify it. But your book apparently is doing very, very, very well. I have personally had people call me and request that I give them a copy. You know the thing about Ghanaian mentality. We like free things.
Yeah,
unfortunately, the people who did the publishing and things for you didn't do it for free. They charged you money.
Doesn't matter. I mean, the thing is the circulation of the ideas.
Yeah.
The mobilizing effect of the book. It's not so much how much we are earning. If it were how much we were earning and so on. Rather than write a book, perhaps we would have been involved in Galamsey. You understand?
Right.
So it's not so much about the money. And I didn't know I would have brought you some copies.
Yes.
But next week, I promise to bring you a few copies. So you can use for your protocol and so on. Yes, but it's true that surprisingly, the book is doing very, very well. As of yesterday, it was rated 5-star on Amazon.
What?
Yeah, as of yesterday. Rated 5-star on Amazon.
This is breaking news.
So it does appear to be, of all the books on reparations on Amazon, it does appear to be the leading one, the one that is receiving most public attention.
Wow.
And 5-star rating is quite high.
Wow.
I was very surprised when I saw it yesterday.
Wow. But so far, apart from the Amazon's 5-star rating, persons who have grabbed a copy of the book and have started reading, what has been the feedback like?
I've had many feedbacks. I mean, one of the most interesting feedbacks that I had is from a young lawyer. I think he's called Apia Dankwa.
Right.
You know, and he's somebody I've respected a lot. He did a brilliant review, you know, very, very brilliant review. He actually wrote it. He wrote his review. So, yeah, and many others, you know, that I respect who have commented, you know, very, very nicely about it. There's another lawyer in London, I think he's called Bauer, who has also called. And then there are a number of international reviews in many leading journals, you know, around the world. So it's doing quite well. Much better than I ever expected.
Wow.
Much, much better. I mean, first of all, I didn't even set out to write a book. It was by accident. And then I thought I was just making an interesting argument, you know, trying to unite all the various standpoints and so on. So beyond that, I wasn't expecting anything more. And then, bam, out there. But again, I must give exceptional credit to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. I mean, the moment President John Mahama agreed to write the foreword and wrote the foreword, it gave the book another dimension, completely new dimension, you know. So it's not just what I've done, it's also the contribution that President has done, you know. And most interestingly, the fact that he went to the AU review meeting with copies of the book and distributed it to his colleague heads of states, you know, and so on. It's just remarkable. So I'm very, 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 very grateful to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for writing the foreword, for personally being interested in distributing it to some very important quarters around the world and so on. And then you may not know, in the European Parliament, there's a division between left elements who support reparative justice, you know, for Africa, and right-wing elements who are opposed to reparative justice for Africa. So a couple of weeks after the book came out, I actually wrote personal letters to the members of the European Parliament.
Interesting.
For those who support reparative justice, I wrote personal letters to them and encouraged them to continue to fight for reparative justice. And for those who are against reparative justice, I wrote personal letters to them, pointing out the weaknesses of their argument and urging them to read the book, you know, and saying that, look, we can disagree, but at least let's settle on the facts and so on. So that was very powerful. I mean, I thought that that also contributed quite significantly, getting the book into the European Parliament and getting European parliamentarians to take note, of the contents of the book was quite remarkable. And then many other things. I mean, I personally presented a copy to President Nicolas Maduro. Many foreign ministers around the world, I personally presented copies to them. There were those I couldn't get the opportunity of giving them personally. They asked their embassies to get copies for them. The number of embassies have gotten copies, for their governments and so on. And it's doing quite well, quite well. I mean, quite surprising. I'm really surprised.
Wow. Is this your first book, isn't it?
Not exactly, but the first book of note.
Okay.
I did a small pamphlet, not a pamphlet, actually a booklet, called, titled The Street People, which is essentially a collection of articles that I had written in the 1980s about the PNDC regime. And it did very well then. It's not a very fat book, it's a small book, did quite very well, and still a lot of people refer to it, So and the title of that book is The Street People. Street People, it did quite well. And then I did one under an alliance, didn't use my real name, which was a bit fat, That didn't do that well, perhaps because I didn't use my real name. I did it under some name, you understand? And I still occasionally see copies on one or two bookshelves. Nobody knows that I wrote that book.
Yeah.
There's a bigger one in the works.
Hey.
Much bigger one in the works.
It's got to do with this bigger one in the West. Got to do with your memoirs. We will not accept any excuse, Uncle Kwesi.
No, there's a bigger one in
your
the
memoirs,
West.
it has to be.
There's a bigger one in the works.
Yes.
The thing is that I don't want to put it all together at once. I mean, a certain momentum will be lost and so on. So I have to decide deliberately when to release it. But you can release it in 2 weeks. But I'd rather wait for a year.
I see. Is that about your memoirs?
Memoirs is...
This memoirs matter is back again.
Memoirs is memoirs are written by great people, with great experiences and so on. I'm not in a position to write memoirs. But the story of our participation in the attempt to democratize Ghana.
Okay.
It's not a memoir. Memoir is for, you know what I mean. Yeah. A memoir is not for people like me.
I don't know why you want to take yourself out of that group. But you are a great man.
No.
You're a great man.
No.
Oh, Akwesi.
When I reach there, you would know.
Oh, no, you're a great man. In fact, it's always I put it to you that you're a great man. Anyway, but it will still tell a story.
Oh, huge story.
It will still tell a story about your contributions towards liberation struggle and Ghana's democracy and so on. And it will still be interesting to
one of the things
read that book
strikes me, and I do not say this out of modesty or anything, for many of the major political developments that took place in this country, in the 80s and 90s, let me say that at least I was at the center of everything. At least, and that's the least I can say, I was at the center of everything. From the alliances of left-wing forces which first opposed the PNDC regime, to the broad alliance of the left and the right, leading to the emergence of the Movement of Freedom and Justice, even the formation of the nucleus of the New Patriotic Party. At the same time, the nucleus of what eventually became the Convention People's Party and so on, was the center of all of these And anyway, it's enough now.
August has given us a foretaste or a precursor to what to expect when his book comes out. Yes, I want to see some of these pictures in the book that you intend to write. Yes, this one and more.
I don't have this picture, actually.
Okay. In fact, that's why we put it out, because we know you don't have it. You saw your reaction when we put a picture up on TV. It was because, I mean, it was a pleasant surprise. It is a pleasant surprise. But when was this? Do you remember the year?
I don't. I don't have a copy of this, you know. This must have been...
in the 70s or 80s?
Most likely in the 80s. Maybe
mid-80s.
Early 80s. Early to mid-80s.
Interestingly, she looks very... Alma Pratt looks very much like her mother. Well, you're very fashionable, Owaguzi. It's starting in there, you know. Yeah. White trouser, black top, and nice white is it like inner vest or something, you know. But anyway, so Collins, what's up?
Anytime I get up in the morning to come here,
yes,
on your show,
right,
and I see the flyer that I will be attempting to have a debate with Ankwesi. You cannot just imagine how privileged I am.
Right.
Oh my God.
You know, here we are. Ankwesi is talking about he being an integral part of our political struggle from the 70s till now. And I was born in 83. So, and today I'm a beneficiary of the democracy that Ankwesi and Co. began. You know, it's a real privilege. I tell people all the time that being with Ankwesi for the past 4 to 5 years is something I never dreamt of. In fact, one of my fondest memories was when I attended the 70th birthday, and then there was a documentary about him. And here I was, Emuro, seated amongst the Chachuchi Kates, the Fremont Parade, the Chief of Staff, and all the big political guys. And then we are watching the documentary, and here I am,
right,
being featured on the documentary of Mr. Kwesi Pratt. It's an incredible privilege, Ankwesi. And I'm surprised you are surprised your book is doing well. I'm even surprised you are surprised.
Yeah.
A book that had its foreword written by a president, had it reviewed by the venerable Cabral. I mean, it had to be good.
Yeah.
Yes. This topic about repatriation, it's been a very heated topic.
Yeah.
Heated topic. I mean, sometimes when you watch television and you see some of the even artifacts being returned to Africa, and the kind of excitement that greets such repatriation, it's something that some people may take it lightly.
Yeah.
But these are huge conversations. I mean, I watched a movie where somebody was talking about, one white gentleman was talking about corruption in Africa, and then one other white person replying this other white person and asking him, how did Africa get corrupt? You know, if all their resources, their human capital, were virtually exported outside to develop another continent, leaving their own continent to where it is at the moment. And now the human resource that developed your continent is now coming back to you to seek $50 million, $60 million. When we have artifacts, even rare artifacts, that may cost now at auction more than the $50, $60 million that we come to borrow. it's a topic that really needs a very thorough discussion about. So, Ankwesi, I'm not surprised that the book is doing well. Yeah. As I said, this topic is a very sensitive topic, but it has to be talked about. We have to discuss it. You know, some may disagree, others will agree. The Otumfuo just celebrated this Sagranti War, some 1,000 years festival, and I saw some of the artifacts that were picked here, brought back to the Asante Kingdom. You can imagine what these things are worth at this particular point in time. And this is not the only thing that was taken away from Africa. Even the human capital. Human capital. You go to New York, the number of Ghanaian doctors in New York is more than the entire doctors we have in Ghana. And if you read the history, you understand that a lot of these people moved away, you know, not voluntarily. Some left long time ago through a certain process. And now they are there developing New York, developing America. And here we are struggling with doctors at Ridge Hospital or Kulibu Hospital. So these are issues that we need to discuss. You know, what kind of compensations do we need? I mean, it took some European countries years to even accept the idea of slavery and to even apologize. I've watched scenes where in the European Parliament and some countries I've forgotten, where prime ministers are now openly apologizing for what had gone on some 100 years ago. So it is an interest. I've started reading it. In fact, when I got home, I went to show my wife that I'm one of the few people who have an autographed copy of the book. And I showed it to her. It was like, hey, what do you have to see here? You know, so I'm going to say it's as I said, as for your memoirs and your other books, yourself and your good brother Kweku Bako and the others that we've been listening to for a very long time. I mean, it will be a disservice to all of us, you know, if we don't have such level of history, you know, handed over to the next generation. You know, we should be able to read, you know, the vivid description of what actually occurred. And I watched your last session with Ankweku, your brother Ankweku, when you're talking about your life in prison. Yeah. And what had going on in prison. And Ankweku will tell you that prison is a very interesting place where people discuss issues, personal issues, and talk about very personal issues. It will help all of us shape our thoughts, shape our thinking, and all that. And one of the things you should be doing is to be putting together your speeches. Seriously, you should. When I was in Legon, he used to come there with the Socialist Forum. And he comes there, speaks for 1 hour, 30 minutes, without any book, without any notes. And he speaks, you know, from his heart and makes all the... And he's been doing it for years. I've been watching in Nkrumah Day celebrations where he just gets up and speaks for 1.5 hours. We should be having those tapes. And it's important that you have that kind of information put together. I mean, all the things you've been saying for a very long time, apart from the stories that you know, the experiences that you have, if you put them in the book for generations, it will help all of us. And I keep telling people, who tells everybody agrees with Ankwesi? No, he's human. He may have his flaws. Everybody has his own understanding. Just as he said, even repatriation, even in the European Parliament, some people say no, others say yes. So yes, others will disagree or agree with him. But I don't think you can take out his name when history is being told about our political dispensation, our media landscape, and the development of our, even the media, how freely we speak now and all that. Today I'm here. I say my mind, others will agree, others will not disagree. But a few years ago, Ankwesi will tell you, you dare not even speak in the first place. You could not speak. You know, so one of the things that democracy has given us is the ability to come on set and to have discussion. You know, and for me to even disagree with Ankwesi, the same person who helped, with others of course, to shape this space for us, I'm in a position, he has given me an opportunity to even disagree with him. Yeah. And I do so all the time here on set. Of course, we do it in a very decent manner. But the point is that Ankwesi should not be surprised. He should not that his book is doing well on Amazon. It shouldn't be a surprise with the kind of history that he has and all that. It shouldn't be a surprise to him at all. And I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm really, really not surprised. And I think that he should do more of these writings for generations. Some may disagree, as I said, but I can tell you there will be more other people who, even if you disagree, we would love to read and have a different perspective of what our history has told us or taught us over the years. So I'm not surprised. Congratulations to him and the team. And as I said, any book that has a foreword by a president and a review by Cabral should not be surprising to get a 5-star rating. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something which is genuinely surprising for many people. We are talking about reparative justice. Do you know that slave owners were paid reparations?
Oh, I see.
Slave owners.
The slave owners.
Slave owners. When slavery was abolished, the slave owners said they were losing property. The slaves they had were considered property. So they sued for reparation, and they were paid reparation.
No argument.
So slave owners have actually received reparation.
But the victims of the slavery?
No. Slave owners actually received reparation. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But this is a lopsided world in which we live, you know.
But perhaps it also speaks to a certain mindset. I mean, there's some people who, no wonder there's a big debate in the European Parliament, because some people don't have a problem with this whole slavery thing. And so the slave owners will be paid.
That's
because for
incredible.
them, it's a loss. I'm losing business. And so now that I'm losing business, I have to make up for it by paying you some money.
No, there are still
You know?
people around the world who think that Africans and descendants in the Caribbean and the diaspora are not human.
Sure.
There are still people who think that we are not human.
We don't deserve to be here.
Yeah, we are not human, you know. So the racism continues, and it finds expression in different ways, and shocking ways, you know, really shocking ways. I mean, one of the things that I learned when I was doing the research for the book was the fact that at a certain stage during slavery, the most precious bags were made from human skin, black human skin. I mean, incredible. Our skin was being used to make leather bags.
But who in their right senses would buy such a bag?
Yeah.
It's an endorsement of murder, torture.
Yeah, but it was the most. It was a priceless gift.
Yeah.
To get a leather bag made from black human skin.
Wow.
You know, and we've been through all of this, and that's why I get very upset, very, very upset when some of our leaders, you know, tell us to copy the example of the West. I get very, very upset. I mean, those leaders have no understanding of history. Those leaders are completely ignorant, you know, and there's so many of them. That's the shocking thing, you understand? Because look, if Africa has to develop, we have to understand very clearly that the option of slavery is not available to us. The option of colonialism is not available to us. And the option of neocolonialism or neoliberalism is not available to us. So if you tell us to copy, for example, Britain or Germany or France, you must come and tell us who we should also go and capture as slaves to come and work for us for hundreds of years, you know, without compensation. You understand? Because that is how they developed. They developed by extracting labor, by extracting surplus value, slave labor. So slave labor is not something we can even contemplate today. So that option of development is out, completely out for us. By our very history, by our current circumstances and so on, the capitalist path to development is sealed for us. It's not an option, you know. And it's only ignorant persons who do not have an understanding of how history shapes today and shapes the future, you know, who can be arguing that we should take the capitalist path to development. It is closed, completely closed to us.
Anyway, Collins, look at this shoe we're just showing on your screens. It was actually made out of a human skin, you know. It's just one of such examples. You know, you mentioned it earlier in your statement. This is one of such examples.
Yeah.
Shoe that was made out of
black human skin.
Yeah.
You know, black human skin.
And it sold. People bought it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing stuff. Anyway, Collins, you were supposed to have returned from recess on Monday, I believe. But we're hearing all kinds of things. I mean, for now, it's merely speculative. I'm talking about the reasons why you're not back to work. You know, I mean, all that we've heard from the Speaker of Parliament is that it's for, you know, reasons beyond his control, due to factors beyond his control, but he won't tell us exactly what's happening. But if you look at today's Accra Times, again, if you go to Chronicle Online and some other online portals, we're reading all kinds of speculative reasons. Apparently, Parliament is broke, and that's why Parliament is not in session. I mean, what have you learned? What do you know?
Well,
bring us up to speed if you have something to tell us.
There was an earlier communication from the Speaker. And you know the Constitution is quite clear. It's the Speaker who convenes Parliament. Unless maybe there's an issue where 2/3 of members, 1/3 or so of members of Parliament trigger a recall. The Speaker had already earlier announced that we were going to resume Parliament on the 14th. And then subsequently, we got the latest one, saying that Parliament's the date for the reconvening has been postponed indefinitely beyond his powers as a Speaker. And the Speaker is a very powerful person. So if the Speaker says that what is happening is beyond him, it must be something very, very huge. I mean, I'm not surprised that the speculation is about finances. It is possible. In fact, what I'm hearing is that should be the reason. But I'm also told that the Finance Ministry and Parliament are working at this particular moment in time to ensure that some funds are released to Parliament for us to reconvene. This particular session is going to be a very important session. That's the budget session. And so government itself, a lot of government business will be transacted between October and December. And I think it behoves on government to, as quickly as possible, do the needful, if what we are hearing is the case, to do the needful for us to, as quickly as possible, go back to the House and then to transact a lot of government businesses. I don't think it's a pleasant news to read that the Speaker is incapacitated for lack of funds, because when you reconvene Parliament, a lot happens. You know, a lot goes into running Parliament for three months. So I'm just hoping that the discussions ongoing between Parliament and the Finance Ministry or government yield some fruitful conclusions to enable the Speaker to write another another letter to commence parliamentary sitting. This is our long vac, and we've been home for close to 3 months. Of course, during this vac, parliamentary work also goes on. You know, the local government committee is sitting, public accounts is sitting, my committee, the energy committee, last week, that's why I was not here. We were on a tour of all the power sector installations to ascertain for ourselves what is on the ground. So Parliament is still in session. I know the Communications Committee is in faraway Wa, doing some work. So Parliament is still ongoing, but as I said, when it happens this way, government business is what is being hindered.
Okay.
Government business, because normally they will table issues for us to discuss and to get approval for. Everybody's talking about the repeal of the LI.
Yeah.
The Galamsey.
2462.
Yeah, 2462.
Yeah.
The Lands Minister has indicated that he sent some communication to the Attorney General. I heard the Attorney General also say that he's done with the documentations and will be laid in Parliament. He even mentioned 14th.
Right.
Because that was the earlier communication from the Speaker. What that means is that that particular promise will also be delayed, which will go in a long way to affect government's communication and government's promises. So I just hope that the discussions will yield some positive results so that we can go back to Parliament to execute the mandates for which we were elected.
All right.
But it's unfortunate. I mean, I don't think we expected that we'll get to this end. But
all right. Okay, so we'll take a short break, and when we return, we would be. I'm curious to find out from Collins whether post the 2024 elections, which saw the defeat of the NPP, whether he's done his thank you tour, whether he's done his apology tour, and how it has gone, and whether looking back, if indeed he did them, it was a good idea or not. So please stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
I'm a branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspections, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Wabedum time aso. Hey, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwaya mabesisia. Abozege. Akache say no ya konate and the more drink woman. Hey. But I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabio, baby wom. Ready? Hey, baby wom. Uncle. Ah, Eji. I'll cause some discomfort. Ah. Uncle. Sorry, well, uncle, where would the dad? Why your funeral? At your phone for Arrowfield Trading. Sorry, it killed them all.
No mum share nanda danya was mosquito call esudu womunumu. Na say spray with them musa. Chaisima edronum ansana kwa dynamo.
And Kratoi FDA ajatum.
Ama. Nansi mi jeno wo bin enko ye kra o. Ama ma ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me hu se me nyo basima kra. Ama me kunu me into kwankwa. Oh you right. Enye mo ko. Give us JC mixture and in the capsules. Aye num boom. En ho asem na mo kana. E boa emma ene meme nyina. Ne ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be mesima. Ya we be boa wuku ama ne giant sa wo de hye ne botum na wanyinya na nim tisese ne oyi chokmo na Give us GC mixture and then a capsule. Achisa.
A pin for a batter, one more menu for one and Quada when you feel to me.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Trout from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be later? Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go feel the luckiest. Go feel from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Me and you go feel be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
God Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom. If you put it toye, so would the coming of the son of man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
You're still watching Good Morning Ghana on a Metro Television. My name is Audu Moro. I'm here with Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. He's a journalist and also, in fact, a seasoned journalist and also a statesman. Also here is the Honorable Member of Parliament for the people of Ifija Kwabre North, and also a former Deputy Energy Minister. I'm talking about the man Collins Adomako Mensah. Collins, I was asking you before we went on that break whether did you do a thank you tour? Yes. Okay. Did you follow it up with an apology tour, or it was just a thank you tour?
It's a thank you tour, but during the thank you tours, I took opportunity to apologize for anything that I may have done wrong or something that I've done or said that offended one person or the other.
But why was that necessary?
Oh, we are human. I'm human. I mean, I've made a mistake here or there. One woman told me that just back twice, you know. So I apologize. There's nothing wrong in that.
Were you one of those who felt that the Akufo-Addo government, they didn't do much for the people of Ashanti in the 8 years?
I'm sure this is in reference to.
We're building up.
No, I just want to know where so that I know how to situate my argument.
Ah, okay. All right. So let me tell you where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Madam Mrs. Annie Efua Ampofo Kuntunkununko Moro. Please, can you play Gabby's video? Let's watch this video. Okay. So it's about a video that was trending the whole of the weekend, and we kick-started a conversation about it on Tuesday. And it was a video where we heard and saw. Okay, so let's watch this video.
We let Ashanti down because we didn't notice their votes. NPP let Ashanti down because they didn't have flyovers. But I have been in meetings where MPs from Ashanti region have said that and your flyovers, they want their community roads down. And in politics, you are supposed to give people what they say they want, not what you think they want. They what? They wanted their community roads. And when you look at the number of roads that was done in Ashanti region, per capita across the country, you can't say that NPP left Ashanti region down. Yet, an NPP person was apologizing for disappointing Ashanti, for neglecting Ashanti region. Now, if you want to win in 2028, and this is your attitude, that's what Yatu said, one Yatu. There's a difference between humility, okay, and knocking yourself down. You can show humility, and let me put more say, hey, you expected more from us, and we are sorry that we couldn't deliver all that you asked. But politics is a competitive, comparative game, in the sense that it is between you and I. That's what it is. So if you accept the propaganda and you say, forget about even the propaganda, you accept, or you say, you did not do well. You did well under very difficult circumstances. But if you go on and looking at just the negatives, how then do you stand up and say, 2028 is our best chance? How is 2028 going to be your best chance? How do you go and convince the Ghanaians say, the friend is saying, oh, oh dear, I'm sorry. Oh dear, I failed you. But my members is here. Then you have to wait your time, whatever that time is. You must be bolder in defending what you did. You must be humble in accepting where you fell short. All right? And you must have the confidence to say, look, in spite of this and that, I can tell you, I built more roads than any government that has spent the number of times that has spent in the office. I can tell you that I did more for health, I did more for agri, I did more for education, I did more for the military, did more for the police. I did more for so many areas. You can see all that because the facts are there. The facts are there, but you sit there and you blame yourself and you feel sorry for yourself and you want to come out to office in 2028. Are you serious?
So that's an MPP stalwart as a private legal practitioner. Of course, we do know Gabi's relationship with the former with the former president. I'm talking about Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and we know he's a pretty influential personality or person in this country. Now, if you look at today's New Weekend Crusading Guide, the New Crusading Guide and some other newspapers, there's been some reaction from what Gabi has said. And the paper reports that NPP UK clarifies Gabi's remarks at Birmingham event, dismisses viral video as false and distorted, urges unity ahead of 2028 polls. Now, that's just one angle. There's another angle where we're told that Ashanti MPs are very, very, very upset with Gabi Asare Otchere-Darko for the comments that he's made, and I'm sure that the video was very clear, audio-visually. We heard everything, we saw everything. Now, that story, if you look at today's Daily Post, is in there, and we're told. Let me look at that story briefly before I bring you in. Or perhaps, let me look at this. Yes, let me look at this one. Yes, the New Crusading Week, the New Crusading Guide story. I'll look at that one first before I bring in. So, we're told the United Kingdom branch of the New Patriotic Party has issued a clarification following widespread misrepresentation of comments made by Gabi Asare Otchere-Darko, a leading member of the party and former executive director of the Dankwa Institute, during an engagement with members of the MPP Birmingham chapter last Saturday. In a statement signed by its chairman, Mr. Kingsley Adumata, I believe, a Japan, the MPP UK said it had observed a flyer circulating on social media, falsely quoting Mr. Gabi Otchere-Darko as having said that Ashanti MPs failed their people. The branch described the claim as entirely untrue and a gross distortion of its words. Mr. Otchere-Darko's remarks, according to the party, were taken out of context, and that he never suggested that Ashanti MPs preferred community roads to flyovers, as some online posts implied. Rather, he had cited a broader example without naming any individual legislator to illustrate how economic constraints had forced the government to make difficult choices about project priorities. His point was not to blame or discredit Ashanti MPs, the statement noted, but to highlight the trade-offs government faced when revenues and borrowing options became limited. Mr. Otchere-Darko, in fact, acknowledged the government's desire to have done more for the Ashanti region, while urging party members to avoid self-defeating narratives of neglect. He reportedly told the audience that politics was a competitive and comparative game, and that while it was important to show humility about where the party had fallen short, members must not knock themselves down as they regroup for a stronger comeback in 2028 elections. Turning to the party's electoral performance, Mr. Otchere-Darko dismissed suggestions that the MPP's 2024 defeat reflected a fundamental national shift to the opposition NDC. He pointed out that despite an expanded voter roll of some 1.7 million new registrants, the NDC's total votes in the Ashanti region had risen by fewer than 30,000. This, he argued, should inspire renewed confidence within the party, provided it learns the right lessons and adopts strategically. Now, the MPP's UK statement described Mr. Otchere-Darko's speech as uplifting and forward-looking. He reportedly encouraged party members to regain confidence, avoid self-pity, and to take pride in the government record under exceptionally difficult global economic circumstances. Now, back to the Daily Post, and I'll just look at maybe just a paragraph or two. Now, that story is on page 5 in today's Daily Post, and it says that the Ashanti Regional MPP Parliamentary Caucus has responded to recent remarks attributed to Gabi Asare Otchere-Darko, suggesting that members of parliament from the Ashanti region opted for community roads instead of flyovers as a result of the current state of infrastructure in the region. The MPs from the region, in a statement, said the allegations are inaccurate and misleading. This is unfortunate and disappointing that such remarks would be made in a manner that seeks to malign and unfairly portray Ashanti MPs. We wish to place on record that no such meeting ever took place between Ashanti MPs and any person in authority where such a choice or preference was made. They also affirm their commitment to advocating transformative and high-impact projects in the region, such as the redevelopment of major markets, such as KJTR, the construction of schools and hospitals and others. Ashanti deserves not only community roads, but also modern interchanges, flyovers, expressways, and strategic infrastructure capable of driving economic activity, facilitating trade, and and easing mobility for our citizens, the statement adds. Now, Collins, were you part of the meeting where you were asked to make a decision whether you preferred community roads or major infrastructure projects in Ashanti region?
So, when this news broke,
okay,
I had my own thought about it. Subsequently, Mr. Gabi Ochedakun, through our caucus chair,
okay,
and we're informed by our caucus chair that Mr. Gabi Ochedakun has apologized to the caucus.
Who's your caucus chair?
Our caucus chair is the Member of Parliament for Asante Achem. Get his name.
Okay.
The Member of Parliament for Asante Achem.
Asante Achem MP. Please go ahead.
Animedu,
yes.
Has informed us that Mr. Gabi Ochedakun has apologized to the caucus for his use of the phrase that members of Parliament from the Ashanti region failed our constituents. I have not been in any meeting with Mr. Gabi Ochedakun with regards to road infrastructure in Ashanti region, where members of Parliament from Ashanti region opted for town roads instead of flyovers. I've never been in any meeting with him like that. And that is why the statement from the caucus vehemently rejected that proposition from Mr. Gabi Ochedakun. I have not. I'm a member of Parliament. I'm in my second term. I never sat in any meeting of the Ashanti caucus and Mr. Gabi Ochedakun where issues about our preference for town roads as against flyovers were discussed. I've never been in that meeting. So I don't know where that is coming from. But as I said, he has come to apologize. And for the sake of the unity and forward-looking of the party, I think we will take that apology and move on. His issue about why we are apologizing, and he thinks that if you apologize, what else are you going to say in 2028? I listened to the video, and I didn't hear him refer to any of the presidential candidates. I realized he was referring to a particular member of Parliament in response to one member of Parliament. I don't see anything wrong in rendering an apology, if there is. I don't see anything wrong with that. And I don't see how that is going to prevent MPP from winning the next election if Ghanaians decide to give us another chance. I don't see the correlation in apologizing for something we did wrong and assuring Ghanaians that we'll correct our mistakes. I don't see anything wrong with that. His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo himself, just last week, I read that he said one of his darkest moments was when a decision was taken about the DDAP. That is a direct acknowledgement of the fact that on hindsight, he would have done something different. So if Nana Addo apologizes for that particular aspect, what is wrong with that? The circumstances may have made it difficult.
Maybe the talk about his darkest moments may not necessarily suggest that he's saying he's sorry. It may be one of his difficult moments. It may mean
that he would have wished, on hindsight, to have done something different within the circumstances.
Maybe not.
Within the circumstances, he would have wished that he would have done something different.
My point is that let's not give the darkest moments only one meaning, which is to say that.
My point is that the fact that the president himself has acknowledged that something was very difficult for him, and he knows that that went a long way to hurt the middle class, in itself is an acknowledgement that if he had the opportunity again I'm not sure he would told that line. That's what it means.
Maybe.
Yes, he would have told a different line.
No, so say maybe.
Yes, he would have told a different line. So I don't see anything wrong with somebody apologizing. In fact, almost all our presidential candidates have apologized. I've heard Honorable Kennedy Japan apologizing to delegate, to MPP people for one mistake or the other. I've heard Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia say same. I don't see anything wrong in apologizing and seeking forgiveness and preparing yourself to do better. I don't see anything wrong with that. And I don't see how that makes it difficult for us to sell our message in 2028. I don't see that. But as I said, he's come back to apologize. And this is coming from our caucus chair, that he, on hindsight, could have used a more appropriate wording for the discussion he held. I think we should just leave it as that.
But it's also important for us to ask, what is Gabi apologizing for? Because I see two themes emerging from his talk. The first theme has to do with what Ashanti MP said he wanted, as in preference for community roads instead of a flyover, as you rightly pointed out. And the second theme that emerges from that statement is this whole talk about an apology. And I get it when you say perhaps he was referring to an MP. But somebody can also argue that by extension, what he's trying to say is that the whole principle of apologizing and how it is done can sometimes, it can send the wrong signal to the electors going into the 2028 elections. And by extension, all other persons who may have said they apologize or rendered an apology. I don't want to get a point. He may have mentioned an MP, but if in principle he has a challenge with an apology and how it is rendered, in order that the wrong impression is not created, then you can also say that all other persons who may have said that he has a problem.
Is it not interesting that he has a problem with an apology, but he has apologized?
Maybe the context, circumstances. Yes, circumstances.
He has a problem with you apologizing.
Yes,
but he has just apologized.
But we don't know what he's apologizing for. Well, you say he has apologized to the Ashanti caucus, isn't it?
Yes, because
so perhaps has to do with
he said that the Ashanti members of parliament failed. That's what he said.
Yes.
And we challenge that. I didn't fail. I don't think I failed my people. I did not fail. So I challenge that. But I'm saying that he is worried that we are apologizing. But he has come back to apologize.
But in that video,
yes,
I don't think that when you watch the video, he entirely has a problem with people apologizing. I get the impression that he's saying that it is okay to admit where you feel there are some shortfalls and there are some excesses or some ills. But to go on and talk about apology makes it look like nothing good happened under the Nanado administration. That he's saying, talk more and defend the good things about the government or the Etswa government, and then where there are one or two things that didn't go right, you are free to state
that is his interpretation.
Okay.
But the point I'm making is that there's nothing wrong in apologizing for something that you think you could have done better. There's nothing wrong with that. And for me, that does not bar us from getting ourselves ready to do better in the next election. I don't see where that correlation is coming from. I don't see that. And I'm saying that if apology is the only problem, he himself has come back to apologize. So apologizing is not the problem, because he himself has demonstrated that when you make a mistake, when you misspeak, you can apologize. So there's nothing wrong in apologizing. I am saying that I reject the claim that members of parliament from the Ashanti region failed their constituents. I reject that claim. I don't accept that, because I don't think that I failed as a member of parliament. I don't think so. So I will not accept that claim from Mr. Gabi Ochidakun that members of parliament from Ashanti region failed. What is the basis for our failure? What is the basis for our failure? Let's check the results. The Ashanti region produced the highest number of votes for the MPP.
Yes.
So what is the basis of our failure?
But it's possible that some of your colleagues may have met him and told him that they prefer community roads.
Met him?
It's possible, yeah.
So you should mention those names. You should be able to mention the members of parliament, those who met him, to have that discussion with him. I have not had any meetings, Gabi.
Okay.
Yes. So I think it's unfair when a leading member of our party makes a blanket statement to say that all members of Parliament from Ashanti region failed. That is wrong, and I don't accept that.
Okay. Ogwezi.
Well, I mean, the issue is not that simple. There are some complications. And the first thing I like to say is that Gabi, unlike Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, is not contesting for the flag bearership of the New Patriotic Party. He's not hoping to be on the ballot for the 2028 elections. So what he does and says can be different from what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is expected to do and say. They are not the same. So that comparison, I don't think that is tenable. So Gabi can apologize, okay? If apology is wrong, Gabi can apologize and get away with it. After all, who is Gabi? Private legal practitioner, former cousin or nephew of the president.
No, they're still cousins. He's not former.
Yeah, but not of the president.
Oh, okay, of the former president. You mean,
Yeah,
because you say he's former cousin. That's what I said, yes. He's a cousin of the former president.
Of the former president, that's what I mean.
Right.
So really, what is his locus? He's not the general secretary of the party. He probably may not even be a card-bearing member of the party. Probably, I don't know. You understand? So that is Gabi's status. Okay? So to say that he's urging others to do what he's not doing, I don't think is really a strong point. Because they're different people in different spaces, acting differently and so on. So that's number one. Number two, Gabi makes an interesting point, and it is this. I've had so many apologies, and Moro, let's be honest. You hear the apologies, and then you're sitting back and you say, but what are these people apologizing for?
Okay.
Oh, we are very sorry, please forgive us. And I said, forgive you for what? Because we don't know what we are asking forgiveness for. Okay? So to that extent, I think Gabi makes an interesting point. What is the apology about? Because if you're apologizing, you must be apologizing for something really specific. You understand? What is it that the apology is about? I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I don't. Collins, maybe you know why you are going all over the place apologizing. Apologizing for what? Come on, tell us what you're apologizing for. You understand? So Gabi's point is that if you're just going about rendering apology and nobody understands what the apology is about and so on, it may be a self-inflicted blow come 2028.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Because in 2028, what are you coming to tell us? You came and told us that we failed, and that we should forgive you. Where is the evidence that we are not going to fail this time? I mean, how can we convince ourselves that the failure is for the past and would not find repetition in the future? And so apology is not something which ought to be done lightly, as a political gimmick and so on. Right now, it seems to me that apology is becoming just a political gimmick of no real value. And that's the complaint that Gabi is making. And it seems to me that there is some validity to the claims that he's making about this, if you like, reckless apology. You understand? So let's put that down. Then he claims, and this appears to be a defense of his uncle, okay, that the impression is created that his uncle's government didn't do anything for the people of Ashanti.
He's not happy about that.
And that it is unfortunate because they did a lot and they did what the MPs demanded that they do. This is a matter of fact. It's either a fact or it's not a fact. Now, the minority MPs from Ashanti have come and said, at no point Did they make the demands that Gabi claims that they made? Gabi has come back to apologize, interestingly. Is that an admission that what he said was not true? Gabi's apology, what does it really mean? Does it mean that what he said about the MPs was not true?
Yeah.
And if what he said about the MPs was not true, why did he say things that are not true about the MPs? You know, so it's just murky, you know. Look, our friends in the New Patriotic Party, our fellow countrymen in the New Patriotic Party must be told that elections ultimately about the promotion of the well-being of our people. You understand? Their living standards, their living conditions, and so on. That's what it ought to be about, not gimmicks. And we've seen too many gimmicks in our electioneering campaigns that makes me sick and sometimes destroys even good candidates. You know, there's going to be an election, and then they go and consult some election specialists, and they say, look, the people who can give us the votes to win are young people. Young people like a certain type of music. So every time you appear on the platform, go and shake your waist to that type of music. And we've seen that. You know, so you've seen candidates jumping onto platforms, shaking their waist in some unrhythmic, you know, fashion, and actually sometimes looking like yo-yos. You know, so what is this? I mean, you read Arthur Kennedy's book, Chasing the Elephant into the Bush.
Yeah.
And he makes the point about how much money was spent on useless concerts at the beach. And the politicians are still not learning. You know, they are giving more to gimmicks, childish gimmicks and so on, than discussing the substantive issues of our day. You know, so to some extent, I think that is what Gabi is attempting to talk about. But then he himself at a certain point has to run away from his claims quickly because I think he doesn't want to be in the eye of the storm and so on. But I think the essential point here is that our politics should be about real substance. The essential point here is that these gimmicks of just apologize. As for Ghanaians, if you apologize, they will sympathize with you and so on. You should just leave all of that in the background. You know, look, there are concrete problems facing us. Right now, as we sit on this platform, I'm told that some elite schools have been closed down in Accra. I'm sure you are aware.
I've heard that too.
Because of a viral infection which is running loose on some of the campuses. So that's a major national concern, viral infection. We've heard about World Health Organization's warnings that COVID-19 could come back with some vim. So the viral infection we're seeing on some of these elite campuses and so on, is it in any way related to a COVID-type infection and so on? We need to know.
Right.
We need. It's a major important issue that we need to address.
Okay.
You know, right now as we sit here, and we said that repeatedly over and over again, there are many, many people who are being born in mining areas without limbs, with defective eyes, with you know, defective organs like kidneys and so on. You know, that's a major issue.
Yeah.
If we were to give you power 2028, how are you going to address these issues? You understand? How are you going to address these issues? Right now, as we sit here, cocoa production is going down by 50%. If we gave you power in 2028, are you going to revamp the cocoa sector?
Yep.
How are you going to revamp it? That's a major issue for us. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, this morning we spent considerable time talking about reparative justice for Africa. Where is your position on reparative justice for Africa? You understand? We are still in an era where women are being discriminated against. You know, maternity leave for women is 6 weeks before birth and 6 weeks after birth, subjecting women and children to terrible conditions of life and so on. What is your position on this matter? Maternity leave for women. You understand? So these are the issues we're talking about. And stop the concerting, you know, the Jaguar Joker attitude to politics, you know, the shaking of waist on platforms and rendering of apologies that we don't know what they are about.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
I think essentially maybe that is what Gabby wanted to say. I don't know, but maybe that's what he wanted to say.
All right.
I think that is what he wanted to say.
Yeah.
Then he has a very strong point because our politics has become so pedestrian. Our politics is not related to the concrete issues that confront our people.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So, please,
All right.
I mean, those of you who want to be president and so on, and Gabby asked a very important question.
Right.
I mean, if you come and you yourself confess that you did so very badly, why do you want to come back?
Yeah.
Okay. That's Gabby's statement.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard him loud and clear. He said, you came and said that you were a total failure. We didn't say it. You came and told us that you performed so horribly and that we are begging for forgiveness.
Yeah.
If you are begging for forgiveness, go and stay at home.
Yeah.
You can't be begging for forgiveness and coming back for the power to come and mess us up again.
Yeah.
I think this is clear message that Gabby put out there.
But you ask a very, very, very important question, and we wish that if we had Gabby on, we could ask him, but I doubt if he'll grant this interview because you asked, are you apologizing for what you said or where you said it and how you said it? You know, we need to know that. Is it where? As in the platform, or what exactly you said, which is, are you now saying it is not true, or you're saying it is true, but I shouldn't have said it at where I said it, and I shouldn't have said it how I said it.
But this is the whole problem with the apologies. People are apologizing to us and we don't know what they're apologizing for.
Yeah, we need to know.
This is the whole problem.
Okay.
And they think that just by saying I'm sorry, you know, it will win our sympathy. Please, you are not winning any sympathy by apologizing for nothing.
Okay.
You know, or for apologizing for things which are only in your head. You understand?
Okay.
That's the whole point about these
All right.
apologies. They have lost meaning.
Okay. Now, Uncle, see, I'm glad that you're here. In fact, last week there was an issue I wanted to, would have loved to run by you because it trended. In fact, most of the newspapers carried it, was also online and so on and so forth. But there's been some updates, even though it's not been carried by the newspapers, but it's online and all. And it has to do with Ghana's decision to accept some West African nationals who have been deported from the United States of America as part of a major crackdown by the Trump administration. And it saw some, I believe, 16 West African nationals who came down here. You know, before they came, there was a big talk about whether Ghana should accept them or not. And if Ghana was going to accept them, the matter should have come to Parliament for Parliament to ratify it in line with, I believe, Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. And Ablakwa, then the Foreign Affairs Minister, explains that this is not an agreement, you know, in the sense, you know, strictly speaking. And that these are West African nationals who, according to ECOWAS protocols, are free to move about anyway. So you don't need any special MOU for Parliament to ratify. So it became a big topic between the MPP, a big debate between the MPP and DC on this matter. In fact, the minority held a press conference and spoke against it, and they said, bring it to Parliament, ratify it. In any case, you have the numbers, you can easily do it. And lo and behold, the West African nationals came. Of course, some had to, they proceeded to Togo, those who came from Togo, and I believe some other countries. I don't know whether we still have them here. But when the whole matter came up, the big question that some journalists were asking, a section of the Ghanaians were asking, was what was in it for Ghana? Because usually in diplomatic relationship, we talk about reciprocity. So you do me, I give you something, I take something in return. And at the time, we were told that there was nothing there. We don't take money. You know, as in the case of Uganda, we didn't accept any money, no financial inducement, nothing. Fair. So what is it? What is in it for us? We're told there was nothing in it for us. And then on Thursday, the Foreign Affairs Minister was on, I think on Saturday, yes, this Saturday, Foreign Affairs Minister was on a platform and actually said, well, we had to accept the West African national because we also told the Americans that, look, you've banned us for 5 years. Now we can't go and take 5-year visa. Reverse it. Bring us back to that 5-year visa instead of a 3-month visa. And that was what was agreed, based on which Ghana was prepared to take these West African nationals. And now we have a 5-year back. Interestingly, as soon as in fact, as soon as we announced that we had accepted the West African nationals, I think the following day or two, that big announcement was made. A major breakthrough was made where the Foreign Affairs Minister declared that, look, now you can go and apply for 5-year visa, multiple visa. The video actually trended. I don't know whether, Bright, do we have that video? If we do, okay, I'm told we have it, but we'll play it at some point. Okay, so what do you make, first of all these issues, what this talk about us accepting West African nationals and whether it was a good idea or bad idea, especially looking at the Gitmo matter, where Parliament was, where the Supreme Court, was it the Supreme Court or the High Court, was very categorical that any time you're accepting foreigners here, you have to go and inform Parliament for Parliament to say, go ahead and do it before. I don't know what you make of all that debate that came up. I'm sure you were in Venezuela at the time.
No, it started before I left.
Sure.
Caracas,
All right.
But, Moro, let's start it this way.
Okay.
Ghana should not be the dumping ground for any country anywhere in the world. And it doesn't matter whether what is being dumped are ex-occupants of the Guantanamo Bay prison, or deportees, or second-hand clothing. Ghana should not become anybody's dumping ground. And that's a principle we should uphold. You understand? We should conduct international relations in a manner which raises our dignity, upholds our dignity. First and foremost, our dignity as a people. You understand? When you begin to conduct international relations, in the same manner that things are prostituted, then there's a problem with foreign policy. You understand? So there should be a principled stand. Avoid dumping, and every nation that we deal with, every authority that we deal with in the world must understand that our dignity as a people cannot be sacrificed for any other thing. This is the basis upon which I think we should conduct foreign policy. This whole idea that, in diplomacy, you give something to get something and so on is annoying in the extreme. You see, it's very annoying in the extreme. Because it seems to suggest that everything is up for sale,
right?
Including our dignity, including our fundamental rights and so on. I mean, that's not the kind of foreign policy that Nkrumah and others, conducted. The underlying principle is the protection of national sovereignty. The underlying principle is the protection of national dignity and so on. And it's for this reason that many of us were staunchly opposed to the dumping of ex-occupants of the Guantanamo Bay prison on Ghana. You remember that?
Yes.
We opposed that very vehemently. So we should have the same principle extending to all. Now, one argument was made, which was that these people who were being deported were West Africans, and that under the ECOWAS protocol, West Africans are free to come to Ghana for a 90-day period. You understand? So, the weakness in that argument is that West Africans who want to take advantage of the ECOWAS protocol and its 90-day, arrangement and so on, ought to do so on their own free will. On their own free will. If they are compelled, by force and so on, it becomes dumping. It becomes complete dumping and so on. So I think we have to look at that and also understand that very, very clearly. In any case, the West Africans who were brought here were not happy with the fact that they were coming here anyway, and that's why they went to court, through their lawyer and so on. Now, these deportations which are being carried out in the US and other places, talk to the Africans. They're very unhappy about it. Even talk to African Americans and so on. They're very unhappy about it because some have claimed that there's a tinge of racism. And if that were the case, why would a government like the government of Ghana want to be implicated in this whole thing, which is so unsavory, which has led to some abuse of the fundamental rights of U.S. citizens? There's a case of the guy who is actually married to an American citizen, has children by an American woman and so on, who was actually not deported to his own country, but was deported to a third party. And congressmen and so on had to come in and try and get him back into the United States. And so it's messy, you understand? So our government should not be complicit in the violation of the rights of citizens anywhere. The rights of asylum seekers and so on. We should not be complicit. It seems to me that we have not taken a clear principled stand on this matter. And I'm worried about the aesthetics. The aesthetics are not looking good at all. The aesthetics are not looking good. Especially as in the final analysis, we've had to deport them. Okay? And I listened to the lawyer who took the case to court. And the lawyer argues that one of the...
That's Oliver, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
One of the arguments that the Trump administration had used in order to, bypass the court processes in the U.S. and so on was that they would not be deported to anywhere where they face danger.
Yeah.
And yet Ghana accepted them and deported them. To what extent was that a violation of the pledges which the Trump administration had made? I don't know.
Yeah.
But there could be a violation in there, you understand? So please, let us conduct foreign policy with dignity. Let's conduct foreign policy with dignity. Let us uphold our dignity. Don't let us look like doormats for other governments and so on. We cannot be doormats for anybody. This is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. This is where in 1958 we had the All African People's Conference. This was the center of the struggle for liberation in Africa. You understand? This became home of Dot Padmore. This became a center which attracted Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and so on. Don't let us destroy that value. That's an important value we have to hang on to. Because it's about our dignity as African people. I mean, the whole morning we spent considerable amount of time discussing reparations and so on and so on. Our president is the AU champion for reparation. We should not be conducting ourselves in ways which undermines national sovereignty. We should not be conducting ourselves in ways which would create the impression that our citizenship is inferior to others and so on. That's all I have to say.
But Uncle C, I've just two quick questions. I mean, we have a foreign policy that says we're friends to all, enemies to none. That's our foreign policy. We're friends to all, enemies to none.
I think that's a total misinterpretation of our foreign policy.
Okay.
Read that foreign policy doctrine.
But that's what the foreign minister is saying.
We are implacably opposed to racism.
True.
Our foreign policy
Yes.
is implacably opposed to racism.
Yes.
Our foreign policy is opposed to colonial occupation.
Right.
Our foreign policy is opposed to all violations of rights of citizens and
Yes.
so on.
Right.
So we are not a neutral country, friends to all and enemies to none and so on. That's a total misinterpretation of our foreign policy. There are principles that our foreign policy upholds. Okay?
Okay.
There are clear principles that our foreign policy upholds.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
And that is why, for example, President John Dramani Mahama only recently donated, 40 tons of cocoa products to
Yes.
Palestine.
Yes.
That's not based on friends with all and enemies to none and so on, is based on a concrete policy of being opposed to colonial occupation and racism, being opposed to genocide and so on. That is why the president gave that brilliant address in the United Nations.
Yes, I haven't even picked your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant address in the United Nations. You understand? If our foreign policy meant taking no stand and so on, why was the president taking such a bold stand in the UN and so on? So we should drop that whole idea of friends to all and enemies to none and so on. It's not true. We are enemies to racism.
Okay. So the foreign minister builds a point and says, look, Ghana is the Mecca of Africa. We have been championing Pan-Africanism for God knows how long, starting from the likes of Nkrumah and so on and so forth. And these are our brothers. They are Africans. They have been deported from where they are because they are overstayed. They are welcome and so on and so forth. So if they are distressed and they need some kind of support, and we have the capacity and the capability to support them, why reject them? In any case, they are not going to stay here forever. They are only using Ghana as a transit point. What do you make of that argument?
The problem with that argument is that it would then appear that it is these West African citizens who are asking to come to Ghana.
Okay.
But you know that is not the case.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
They are fighting with a foreign power and saying that the foreign power is mistreating them or treating them.
Yeah.
They want their rights to be respected. The foreign power says, no, dumping you in Ghana. And Ghana says, please come and dump them here. That's a different situation. You understand? In any case, why? There are aircrafts flying between all the American states and Lagos and Abuja and so on. So why are Nigerians not being taken to Nigeria?
We asked that question too.
It's an important question. I mean, it's not like the only aircrafts which fly out of the United States fly into Ghana.
Yeah.
They fly to Togo. They fly to Nigeria. They fly to Liberia. They fly to Senegal. They fly to all those places. So why this arrangement for Ghana? I don't understand it. Maybe you do.
No, but it turns out that we agreed to accept or to accommodate these West African nationals because we needed America to reverse this ban on a 5-year visa matter.
So, but I've addressed that. I mean, that would sound more like prostitution.
Oh.
Yeah.
But there are many Ghanaians who were not happy with this ban on this 5-year visa thing.
So what?
But the government is there to set the
so do anything. Do anything, even if it undermines your dignity.
What do you have against the reversal of the ban?
I don't have anything against the reversal of the ban.
Yes.
What I have something against is prostituting foreign policy.
Okay.
There are two different things. Look, why? If the United States grants Ghanaians 20 years visa and so on, what do I care? You understand? But my dignity as a Ghanaian ought not to be sacrificed in order for those who want to go to the US for 5-year visa and so on to get their visas.
Okay.
Our sovereignty cannot be compromised. It should not be compromised under any circumstance. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yes.
So we'll take a break. But before then, let's please watch this video. We'll take a break and I'll pick your thoughts on this. Yes.
The president disclosed that the first batch of deportees, numbering 14 people, had already arrived in Accra. Among them were nationals of Nigeria and the Gambia, who have been assisted to return to their respective countries. The government of Ghana took the principled and humanitarian decision to accept the limited number of West African nationals deported from the United States under exceptional circumstances, in line with Ghana's long-standing Pan-African ideals and unwavering commitment to regional solidarity. Many of these individuals were being held in detention, which was both psychologically and physically distressing. They were also faced with the risk of being deported to countries that are not safe and do not have the stability and human rights credentials Ghana is famed for. You need to note that President Trump has secured a positive verdict from the US Supreme Court that he could go ahead and remove these nationals and dump them anywhere. As a nation that upholds the dignity and rights of all people, particularly those of African descent, Ghana's action was guided solely by our moral responsibility, our legal obligations under the 1992 Constitution and ECOWAS protocols, our distinguished Pan-African track record, and historic and legendary leadership in championing the rights of all Africans. Let me emphasize that under this understanding with the United States, Ghana must first independently vet the background of those the US intends to deport to first satisfy ourselves that they do not pose any threat to the security of our country and that they cannot harm our citizens. We have put in place strict safeguards to ensure that convicted, hardened criminals cannot be brought into our country under this understanding. The Mahama administration will never compromise the safety and well-being of Ghanaians. This understanding with the US has been thoroughly discussed by Cabinet and has also received the Attorney General's advice. By established convention, MOUs are not sent to Parliament for ratification. I have inherited hundreds of MOUs from the previous administration, which were not sent to Parliament for ratification. It is important to stress and to state unequivocally that Ghana has not received and does not seek any financial compensation or material benefit in relation to this understanding. Our decision is grounded purely on humanitarian principle and Pan-African solidarity.
Are these restrictions lifted because of these deportees from the United States that we received in this country?
So I have told you that we initiated talks. We said that, look, we are a responsible government. We will not allow our people to suffer. Yes, you have told us that it's because of visa oversight. You've showed us the data. We will not leave it. We want to negotiate with you. So we want you to engage us. And then they said I could come over to the State Department, which I did. Now, in the course of the negotiations, the Americans said, okay, you want something from us. And I put other things on the table. That is not only the visa waivers. That was, remember that it was around the same time that he had also begun the tariff wars. 15% tariff on Ghana. Some say that we were quite lucky. And then we had AGOA. No clarity on whether AGOA will be extended or not after September. So we put all of these things on the table. Now, they said, okay, you have come to us with what you want. You want us to reverse the visa restrictions. You want AGOA extended. You want us to relook at the 15% tariff. We are also now dealing with immigration challenges. We have all of these people who are in prisons. We are holding them in various ICE facilities. So we want you to help us to deal with this issue. So I immediately consulted with President Mahama. Then there were cabinet discussions on the matter. Then Ghana said that, look, we are not going to accept Venezuelans, Mexicans, and all of this wholesale deportation all over the place. Within our ECOWAS protocols, our sub-regional legal regime, West Africans can travel without visas to West African countries. So we are going to make the case that, look, if you have some West Africans, in any case, we are not happy that our fellow compatriots are in this distress. They are being held up, they are in cages, they are being dumped elsewhere, places that they are not accustomed to, they don't have relatives, they can't integrate. So we will accept only West Africans under the principle of Pan-Africanism and regional solidarity. So that is how we amended, the U.S. request. Because you notice that other countries are accepting people from just anywhere. We said that no, in the spirit of Pan-Africanism,
yes,
we will accept West Africa.
Start your kids' day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
Me chechi woni nara me din e de baby da pa me di ade sonko kra na ebremo nya odi to aduane mu ama waduane e de pa na me de bremo eno any Samu spices e die emu wa no bebre o various flavors ubenya e yakoko ubenya nantwie ye di gu jollof mu ma emu ye de ubenya ye di gu nkwan mu ye di gu froye mu ho na kope bito na ema waduane enye de unye minia ye nkon ye konko tie nyankofo eka
you communication to enjoy Uduba that Samu spices. What in the essence don't type. I think it is Samu spices in a BTA. Daddy so say Samu spices. Samu spices. Nyama chicken.
Samu spices. In Sanaka in Kitswa, measure 10 grams. Your chicken, spaghetti, garlic and ginger, stew, can jollof, and the flavors of Fodobebre.
Samu spices. Yes, Saka.
FDRJ Jadien Kratuyatum.
In life, choice is good, but choice plus safety is way better. Your safety and comfort is paramount. Under the cylinder recirculation model, you can buy LPG in a safe environment. All cylinders are inspected and maintained to the best safety standards, so your safety is assured. Just take your empty cylinder to the nearest exchange point and swap it for a filled cylinder. Different cylinder sizes will be available to meet your pocket size. Imagine cooking in a smoke-free environment. This will improve the health and well-being of you and your family. Choose LPG in a safer model of distribution. Cylinder recirculation model. Securing your safety, creating more jobs. A message from the National Petroleum Authority under the patronage of the Ministry of Energy.
Hooray, Ghana! The Ministry of Transport and its agencies invite you to the Ghana Transport and Logistics Fair 2025. It's the first of its kind in Ghana. From 22nd to 24th October 2025, the World Trade Center Accra comes alive with cars, ship, train, logistics and plane dealers all in one place. Are you a modern car dealer? Do you sell electric vehicles? Then this fair is your platform to shine. Students and the general public will experience free electric car test drives, thrilling maritime showcases and even free helicopter rides. All 15 agencies under the Ministry of Transport, plus global car dealers, airlines, logistic giants and investors will be there with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as our guest of honor. Register now at info.digitaligh.org 0244-613-246 or visit our website www.transportlogfair.org. The Ghana Transport and Logistics Fair 2025. Beyond movement, resetting Ghana's transport future.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to Amame Manfo, Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is several buying, a man is swing, Nesansu Mama Hoto so a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste.
Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension, just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the block, she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter what you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God down boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the son of man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
So watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. This show is also live on 94.1 FM. My name is Audu Moro, and I'm here with Collins Adoma-Kumensa, MP, Honorable Member of Parliament for Ifija Kwabre North, and also a former Deputy Energy Minister, and also Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. of the Insight newspaper, seasoned journalist, and also a statesman. Collins, I'm sure you've also been following this West African nationals and all the controversy surrounding it.
My daddy brother, Ablakwa.
Okay. Why? You have an issue with him?
Oh, you know, I cannot say that I am an expert in international diplomacy.
Okay.
But we all read. And I think on this occasion, he made a big mistake. It's as simple as that. His initial comment on this whole issue were misplaced. It's as simple as that. His point that MOUs do not constitute an agreement and therefore should not come to Parliament is in clear contravention of what happened in the Supreme Court judgment. It's very clear. And I've just been assisted with some reports of what he said in Parliament. He himself.
Okay.
Okudzeto Ablakwa.
Okay.
When it comes to the issue of MOUs.
Okay.
And with your permission, just let me read it. There's a portion of it.
Right.
The judgment reveals that, Mr. Speaker, that raised a matter that judges stress on page 4 of the judgment. Mr. Speaker, the Supreme Court said that, and with your permission, I quote, the Constitution of Ghana bears no distinction between executive and non-executive agreements. Mr. Speaker, this judgment now means that every note verbal and every of understanding that the government of Ghana enters into with another foreign entity must come to Parliament for ratification. Quote, Okudzeto Ablakwa. This was he himself in his element on the floor of Parliament, arguing so forcefully that even note verbals constitutes an agreement that must come to Parliament for ratification. Now you are given an opportunity as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and you are holding press conferences and telling us that because it's an MOU, it should not come to Parliament, which is a clear contravention or contradiction with the Constitution, especially with what the Supreme Court judge had said in his judgment in 2017. Now he goes ahead to say that they accepted them on humanitarian grounds. Humanitarian grounds. And then 2 weeks later, he comes back to say that, oh, this time it's on humanitarian grounds. And that we did so in exchange of a reversal of the punitive measure that the United States government gave Ghana with regards to visas. I mean, you cannot have this kind of double standards. Clearly, he was wrong. He was totally wrong. You have about 180-something members of Parliament. You don't have any issue. Just Let's bring it to Parliament, follow the right processes in accordance with the judgment of the Supreme Court, get to ratification. His fear was that if that MOU had come to Parliament, we would have known that the reason why they are accepting the deportees is because they want something in response. That is it. It's as clear as that. He simply goofed. Badly. Badly. And as I said, that's why I started, is that my other dear brother, you know, we are always happy for colleagues, young ones, assuming such positions. But there's nothing wrong in taking your time to learn as quickly as possible. You have to get information from even your directors and everybody around you in order for you to be well grounded when you're making such statements. That MOUs should not come to Parliament for ratification. Even after the Supreme Court judgment, when you yourself, Okudzeto Ablakwa, on the floor of Parliament, and I have the hazard here, if you want me to forward it to you, so you beam it on your screens. He himself, on the floor of Parliament, arguing that even note verbal should receive parliamentary ratification. Now, as foreign minister, they are telling us that MOU do not constitute agreements. They do not constitute agreements.
Maybe it's a different kind of MOU.
Which MOU is that?
Verbal agreement.
What verbal agreement?
Okay.
Right? What happened is in breach of the Constitution. It's as simple as that. He should have the respect and the candor to accept that he goofed, he made a mistake. We'll move on from there. But for him to come and tell us that was the first, we are doing it on humanitarian grounds. These are West Africans. And that the ECOWAS protocols even allows West Africans to enter Ghana. And now question, I just put it rightly. Were they forced here or they came here voluntarily? Is that what the ECOWAS protocol says? That you can be handcuffed and put in a plane and dumped in another country, and because you come from West Africa, you should accept that it's part of West Africa protocols. What kind of argument is this? What kind of argument is this?
Okay.
And people were even celebrating the reversal of the 3 months to 5 years.
Yes.
He himself, he was shaking hands with the state officer and beaming with a smile that now he has been able to turn. As if he had.
Aren't you happy that now you can take?
As if he has struck some international.
Aren't you happy?
Take your time. He did it when he was doing the presentation. It's as if he has struck some diplomatic victory, when indeed it's in exchange of deportees. As if he had gone there to make some arguments and convince the American government to do the changes, and touting himself that we are back 5 years, not knowing that 5 years. It's in response to accepting deportees. And he told us that it's on humanitarian grounds.
You don't like the 5 years, me, I like. Let's move on.
No, we are not moving on. Take your time. I'm not done with my submission.
Okay.
Why do you want to move on? Why? Why? You don't want to call out the foreign first minister for making a mistake, giving us international embarrassment. You don't want to call him out. And you are saying that we should move on to another 5 years. This is the fact of the matter. They break the Constitution. And he said that he did this with the support and advice of the Attorney General. I will be shocked if the Ayene I know, the Dr. Ayene I know, gave this legal opinion that the MOU should not come to Parliament. I will be shocked. I will be shocked on the basis of even the Supreme Court's ruling to have our Attorney General advise Okudzeto Ablakwa that don't worry, the MOU does not constitute any agreement, so don't bring it to Parliament. So as we sit here now, the Ghana government, through the foreign minister, can go and sign MOUs. And because it's an MOU, it will not come to Parliament. Is that what you're telling us?
But if indeed, indeed, it was Dominic Akurezenga Ayene who told him.
And I'm saying that yes.
His analysis of whatever conversation happened between him and the American government. This one does not fall under the category of Article 77, Article 75. So feel free to let them come. How do you then blame Ablakwa?
I am saying that I will be surprised And I know Ayene, he will not give this kind of advice. Even if the Attorney General gives you this advice, based on E. Okujeto Ablakwa's own argument on the floor of Parliament, with his experience, with his own experience.
Maybe he should defy the Attorney General.
I'm saying he himself, should I read the Hansard again for you?
He's not a lawyer.
Should I read the Hansard? Should I repeat?
It.
I'm saying that.
But I'm saying that his opinion.
I'm saying the
cannot override that of the Attorney General, can it?
When this judgment came out,
yes, you mean on the
yes, on the floor of Parliament, even Okujeto Ablakwa told us
yes
that based on this judgment, even note verbals should come to Parliament.
Yeah, that is his interpretation.
Oh,
his
fantastic.
understanding.
So now his understanding has changed.
Based on what the Attorney General
his understanding after becoming the Foreign Affairs Minister has changed.
Yeah, but you don't.
Take your time. I know you are playing the devil's. You are playing the devil's advocate. You are working as a journalist.
You work based.
You are playing the devil's advocate. You are doing well. I am saying that. Amoro, don't defend the indefensible. Don't defend that.
Master,
No. He's saying that he listened to.
You disagree with him. That's fine.
Yes. I disagree with you. No.
Okay.
I am saying that based on Okujeto Ablakwa's own comment on the floor of Parliament, he cannot come back and tell us that MOUs do not constitute an agreement, and so he should not come to Parliament for ratification.
Yes, according to Attorney General.
He cannot say that.
Okay.
You see, to be fair,
all right.
I think you should go to the text of the Constitution.
Okay.
Mas, are you?
Yes, please.
Yes. Article 71 says the President, that's clause 1, may execute or cause to be executed treaties, agreements, or conventions in the name of Ghana.
Yes.
2, a treaty, agreement, or convention executed by or under the authority of the President shall be subject to ratification by A, Act of Parliament, or B, a resolution of Parliament supported by the votes of more than 1/2 of all members of Parliament.
Yes.
Now, interpretation. It doesn't even have to be written.
Really?
Yes. It doesn't even have to be written.
Absolutely.
Conventions are not always written. Yes. So even just an understanding between our government and another government, which may not even be written, needs parliamentary ratification. Is that clear?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It is.
So it's quite clear.
But then you can also perhaps grant the minister the fact that maybe he was motivated or actuated by genuine intentions.
Right.
I wouldn't also take that away from him. No, seriously.
I get you, Bangwesi. The reason why I am worried about this is that the minister himself, when this thing, in fact, when Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo signed an agreement, some MOU with La Côte d'Ivoire, with regards to cocoa pricing.
Yes.
He argued on the floor.
Oh, okay.
That alone constitutes, on the basis of the judgment of the Supreme Court, constitutes an agreement that should come back to Parliament for ratification.
Now, I don't even think that we need to go to the judgment of the Supreme Court.
You mean it's clear?
Because the Constitution is so very clear.
Yes.
You understand?
So this whole issue about we are doing so on humanitarian grounds, and then we are going to we are accepting our brothers from ECOWAS and all those things. It's neither here nor there. Now, when he was pushed by one journalist, he changed the narrative from humanitarianism now to what? A barter trade.
Yeah, but you should have also been less critical on humanitarian grounds and on old school boyism grounds. You should have been less critical.
How?
On old school boyism grounds. You all went to a PRESEC.
No, if I went to PRESEC, I went to PRESEC. That is why I want him to succeed.
Okay, all right.
That is why I want him to succeed.
Okay.
And I'm saying that this initial thing from my brother is starting on the wrong footing.
Okay.
Totally wrong.
All right. Obviously, and Honorable, let's end with this. We have just 10 minutes. We can do something quickly about this. Now, it looks like the Galamsey, we're trying to fight Galamsey, but Galamsey is fighting us back really hard. And Today's crusading guide says that the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, has dismantled a notorious Galamsey hideout at Abosso in the Western region, popularly known as Gangway. The hideout, long known as a haven for hardened illegal miners, was raided in a massive intelligence-led operation on Monday, October 5, 2025. The operation led to the destruction of numerous makeshift structures used as drug bases within the crime-prone enclave at Abosso in the Prisia-Huni Valley district. In addition to destroying the structures, the task force seized several pieces of mining equipment used in ongoing illegal operations that continue to degrade the environment. During the swoop, several locals involved in illegal mining, gambling, drug abuse, and narcotics trading surrendered to the NIMOS team on the ground, and several packs of hard drugs were also retrieved from the suspects, including 11 parcels of Indian hemp. During the course of the operation, earlier in June, NIMOS had carried out a similar exercise in the same area, warning criminal gangs to vacate the Gangway hideout, despite repeated calls for the chiefs and people of Abosso and illegal miners and miscreants had continued the unlawful activities. The latest operation by the task force is expected to restore order to the community and end the persistent illegalities within the enclave. In the related development, NIMOS also conducted an operation along the Darin dumping areas in the Takwa and Soham municipalities of the Western region. The exercise continued en route to the Gangway hideouts, formed part of the ongoing efforts to clamp down on illegal mining across the region. In all, 15 water pumping machines and 1 generator set were seized, while 3 shank fans and several makeshift structures were destroyed during both operations. And there's also a matter which has to do with policy. And it's a policy statement. We're told Mahama government tightens excavator import controls to combat illegal mining. And the story is here. It's in today's Herald. It said the government has announced a sweeping enforcement of laws regulating the importation of excavators into Ghana as part of renewed efforts to curb illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey. President John Dramani Mahama disclosed that his administration has implemented stringent measures requiring importers to obtain permits before shipping excavators to Ghana. This represents a significant departure from the previous practice where importers could seek clearance after the machines had already arrived at the port. Now you have to seek before it even leaves where it is to the port. Under the new regime, excavators imported without a necessary permit will be impounded, while shipping lines that carry unapproved consignments into the country will face sanctions. And you know, this story was actually curled from that encounter that the president had with CSOs, and our president was there, the GJ president. What's the name of this? What's the name?
Albert Jumfo.
Yes, Albert Jumfo. Yes. I mean, first of all, how did you see that encounter? There were some who said that encounter wasn't even necessary in the first place because really all the president needed to do was the template is just go ahead and flush the legal miners out. You know, you don't need another round of talks. You know, but there's some also said, look, it was good. It was a very useful engagement. I think it was
a useful engagement.
Okay.
To the extent that these CSOs had come up and had made all kinds of statements about the government's commitment to fight Galamsey and so on. They had expressed concerns.
Yeah.
And as citizens and as organizations operating in Ghana, if they had concerns, the president had a duty to listen to them. So I have no problem at all with the president calling them and trying to listen to them and trying to work with them to find a common ground about how to deal with this major national problem. You understand? So I have no difficulty with that at all. I don't think that there was anything wrong with the meeting with the civil society, organizations. In the end, there appeared to have been some consensus.
Right.
One of the things that came out of the meeting was an acknowledgement of the fact that something was being done about Galamsey.
Right.
Even as some of them thought it was not sufficient, there was an acknowledgement that something was being done about Galamsey. And I think that for me is important. The story you just read from the Herald is also one of the clearest indications that the fight is on. We are not achieving the results we want as rapidly as we want, but certainly some fight is going on, And there have been also expert reports about the quality of the water in our rivers, improving, which has also been confirmed. But you see, this is a major national problem. And I believe that everybody, including those in government, would have wished that we dealt with it more expeditiously than we have done. I mean, there's nobody who can express 100% satisfaction with what is happening. But there's a lot of work that is being done. What we need to look at is what is it that we can do in order to accelerate the pace of progress? Is it just the declaration of a state of emergency? And if a state of emergency is declared, what does it give us, to be able to end this as quickly as possible and so on? It's an ongoing problem which needs to be addressed. And the exercises which have been carried out, especially in the areas which were mentioned, are impressive. In fact, one of the areas where they encountered settlements, Galamsey settlements and so on, the report is that those areas had originally been attacked and evacuated, and the people came back. So we keep getting this story of people being evacuated and coming back to mining areas and so on. What are the measures we can put in place to ensure that once they are evicted, they don't come back to the same areas and so on? These are ongoing conversations.
We're told now the NIMOS tax are going to be permanent. They're creating a permanent base for them.
Okay.
All right. Collins, let's do this briefly because I want us to leave the rest of the 5 minutes to look at Black Stars. Yes.
Hey, God.
Why?
You've
given up.
I think I just have to hope that the right things are done.
Okay.
Because you see, what was said before the election, before the general election, about Galamsey, everybody's hope was that when the NDC comes, within the 1 month, here, in this chair.
But Collins, you have to be fair.
No, I'm being fair. I'll be very fair to Mr. Mahama. But I think it's important that I put this in context.
But do you know what I'm saying? You have to be fair.
Obviously.
If I may finish, then you can see what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Whatever was said by people in the NDC and so on, weigh that also against what your people
No problem.
said.
That's why we were voted out.
No, but listen. There were statements made by your people to the effect that they would never abandon Galamsey. And that if they abandon Galamsey, they will lose their seats.
We have been voted out.
Huh?
We are out.
So?
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, on a campaign platform, he said, Mr. Akufo-Addo, Ghanaians have given you the power. Solve the problem. In this studio, our own brother, Sam George, he said, if the then president is serious, he needs just 10 days.
Now, what did your people say? What did you say then?
Let me finish. Let me say what they said. That's where my argument is.
What about what your people say?
In this chair, my own brother, Kudeta Blakwa, hey, state of emergency. Galamsey is so bad. In fact, behind Akufo-Addo's house, they are digging. This is what we were told. That give me 10 days. But my brother, Felix Kwachofosu, he says, the president has the military. He has the police. He even used figures. He said the president has about 5,000 soldiers, 14,000 policemen. He's the commander-in-chief.
And you disputed him. That's the interesting thing. You're not saying that you disputed him. You're not saying that you said it was not possible.
Now they agree.
Now they agree.
No.
Okay, let's
finish
move on.
my argument. Sami, if here, the host asked him, Sami, you need a collaborative effort to solve Galamsey. He said, no, we cannot collaborate with Galamsey to solve Galamsey. He says he cannot collaborate with Galamsey to solve Galamsey. He said, Galamsey is an 8-year-old problem. You see, when the reality don't, you see that the rhetoric has changed. Now you see government appointees. We need to collaborate. We need to come together as a country. Now we need to come together. Akufo-Addo, behind Akufo-Addo's house, the pit there, it's been covered now. It's been covered now. What we say, just to gain political power, now you are in the saddle. Solve the problem.
Okay.
Now you have the soldiers.
All right.
No, Moro, take your time. You have the soldiers. You have the police. Solve the problem. Mr. Mahama says he will only declare state of emergency when the National Security Council advises him, do you know the members of the National Security Council? It includes Okudzeto Ablakwa. The members of the National Security Council includes Okudzeto Ablakwa.
In other words?
He said he supports state of emergency. What advice against Mr. Mahama waiting for?
Collins, do you realize that you're being most unfair?
No, I'm going to say.
Can I explain?
No,
why you're being most unfair?
Let me finish. I'm going to say.
Yes.
I'm saying Okudzeto is on. The current lands minister, the one in charge of the fight of Galamsey, you know what he said? He said, we are long overdue. State of emergency. The education minister, the current education minister, my senior Vanda, he says where we are now, Akufo-Addo should have declared state of emergency like some weeks ago. And we are in dire situations. The turbidity level of the water then, that necessitated a state of emergency. Now it's even worse. But we are being told that state of emergency is not needed. That's what we are being told now.
What did you say?
Oh, I'm listening.
Why are you hiding from what you said there? It's what they said. What about you? What did you say?
Yeah, he's just telling you that their stance on the matter has shifted. That's what he's telling you.
Oh, so everybody's stance can shift. If your stance has shifted, why is it that their stance cannot shift? Okay. Hey, Moro, do you get what I'm saying?
No.
Yes, you have shifted your stance.
Yes.
And you respect your... Oh, these politicians will kill us.
Moro.
These politicians, they will just kill us.
Moro.
But you see this all. You see Moro. Flip-flopping.
Moro.
Happening all the time.
On the issue of Galamsey. See, I've always said that when Mr. Mahama, His Excellency, met the press,
okay,
all I expected him to say was that Ghanaians, I am committed to fighting Galamsey.
Okay.
The posturing of my party and the way we looked at Galamsey, being in power, I think I need more time.
Okay.
Ghanaians, just exercise some patience for me. I tell you, we have understood what he's saying.
Okay.
But this defense about is not in the manifesto. That is what even annoys me the most. That when we say state of emergency, it's not in the manifesto. So now politicians can say things, and because it's not in the manifesto, we shouldn't take them serious.
Okay.
Is that an argument?
All right.
Why are you motivated by anger?
I'm not angry.
You said it.
No.
What annoys you?
Yes, because the way they are defending it is what they should rather be apologizing and seeking more time from the Ghanaian people.
All right.
And seeking more time from the Ghanaian people to solve this problem. Yes. And not to be giving us this kind of excuse that it was not said by Mr. Mahama, His Excellency.
Okay.
So if because Mr. Mahama did not say we'll do state of emergency,
all right,
the current top members of his cabinet have been wondering what's Okudzeto telling Mr. Mahama.
Okay.
What is the lands minister saying to His Excellency right now?
All right.
That is Your Excellency.
We can...
The state of emergency that I talked about last 6 months, don't do it now. Is that what he's telling him?
We can end with that rhetorical question.
Then you should be telling the big man to do what he wanted to be done by Akufo-Addo.
Collins, the Black Stars are playing today.
We are going to win.
Really?
We are going to qualify.
You're very confident?
Yes. I'm very confident.
It's a must win now.
Oh, we are going to win. We are going to qualify.
Okay.
I have seen the excerpt of their training, and I like the vibe. Okay. There seems to be some very exciting feeling with it. It's being played in Morocco, I'm told.
Yes.
If they win today...
Have you seen the training of our opponents?
No, I'm not even talking about
Central Africa.
I'm looking at the sometimes when you see the...
we see this vibe all the time.
Yeah, the vibe.
Have you seen the training of our opponents?
We do what with the panel and the drops.
I have a feeling...
Have you seen the training of our opponents?
We don't want to see.
I think if we win today and... is it Comoros?
Comoros, I don't know whether Comoros is playing today, but
yes, I'm told it's being played at the same time. Because if one of them loses and we win, we automatically qualify, which means even the last game will be kind of a walkover.
Right.
Yes, so we are just pleading with the Ghanaian team. This team we are playing with, we beat them 4-3.
Yeah, so Comoros is playing Madagascar.
Yeah, at the same time.
Same time.
Yes, so if Comoros loses and we win, we automatically qualify. Because then we'll be left with just one game.
True.
Yes. True. And the last time we played this team, we won by 4-3, even in Ghana.
Yes.
So they are not a walkover team.
Yes,
I mean, coming to Ghana to score 3 goals means that they are not any ordinary team.
Take them for granted.
Yes. But I have a feeling we are going to clench it today.
All right.
Yes.
Angozi.
Oh, please, Angozi.
What do I have to say?
That's
more. I said that Collins will remember.
Yes,
what
the thing they said in the past. Right.
So,
Thank you very much. Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is a seasoned journalist and also a statesman, and also Collins Adumaku Mensah is the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ifija, Kwabret North. My name is Audu Moro. Thanks for watching. Good morning, Ghana. Assalamu alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi.
Enua victory garlic mixture na wati ni dina ati ni say na edro ni tie na no pasem ne say edro we adwuma ye titru pa ne say ebeboa ananna ne srade e wo ni padua ni muntin mu ama ohu atɔ kura de di kan oba bi wo ho a okomfikyiri a emma